Happy 3/3/23 portal. It is Friday, March the 3rd. It was just 3/3/3. I was talking to my kids. And yeah, 3/3/3. What does that mean? So it says 3/3/3 angel number encourages to set plans into action and let your personal strength be the guide, to trust yourself and put thought into your choices. This is also connected with optimism, creativity, and intuition. So how fitting with this being Venus Day, Friday, and Saturn, when I push this out, is Saturday, tomorrow. That is the day we're really supposed to work hard, especially on things that we didn't get done on the work week, as well as Friday being ruled by Venus and us in the season of Pisces, talking about Saturn moving into Pisces. And Venus is exalted in Pisces, and we're going to even talk about that a little bit. But today, it's Saturnian time, and it's about Saturnian time. So this is 3/3/23, and we're talking about 3/7/23, just 4 days from that day until 2026. Not sure about the date in 2026. Saturn will be moving into Pisces. Currently it's in Aquarius. It's in fixed energy. It's at home in Aquarius. It was at home in Capricorn. It's been at home for 5 years almost total. We'll talk about that. Moving into mutable water sign. We'll talk about that. We'll even talk about a little bit of how it moves into Aries and then retrogrades back into Pisces. But welcome to Get a Life Astrology with TMZ. I am TMZ, teaching everyone abundantly, empowering many. Zakia, that means intelligent in Arabic. I'm going to say it every time because I want people to know that I'm very serious. My moon is ruled by Saturn, and my moon is in Capricorn. And I'm enlightening every day. That's what TMZ means. My teeth look yellow in the camera, and I just brushed them. Anyway, Get a Life Astrology represents Get a Life, growing into divine adults and loving yourself forever. Why am I tongue-tied? Mercury's not in retrograde for another month or two. Anyway, maybe it's because I'm rushing. I actually took off my full time today because I wanted to dedicate it to being creative, getting messages out as usual, working on my Libra rising and my Pluto in Libra and all those other placements that I have. That's me harmonizing with people and spreading the news as well as enlightening every day. So let me throw out that I have a new TikTok. I'm still working on me, y'all. I'm a people person that likes to talk with people, relate with people, harmonize with people, and cuss people out. Because the opposite of Libra is Aries, which is the aggressive energy. I do have in the Aries house, first house stellium. So working on me. My new TikTok is now Z Soul Ra. So that's ZEESOLRA 999. And if you search ZEE CEO of if you search ZEE CEO of Get a Life Astrology, that'll come up too. If that's too long though. So try Z Soul Ra 999 and you'll find me. Get a Life is down. Get a Life 999, which was the backup of Get a Life, is on warning, so you never know. And this is my 6th page, y'all, but I'm not going to stop telling these truths. I just got to work on how I present them because not everybody is going to accept them, just like not everybody's going to wake up at the same time as we tell these truths. My IG is still up. I'm Get a Life _astrology on IG, trying to build that up, as well as my YouTube is Get a Life Astrology, which y'all are here watching. And I'm building the Etsy by the end of the week so that I can start doing birth charts again, and you'll have an idea, and I won't have to explain it and tell you everything, and we can stick to a certain organization of it, especially coming up on the full moon in Virgo. That will be the next episode that I do this weekend. All right, let's get to it. Try to move this a little closer. So Saturn, and I have notes, so I'm looking at my notes, y'all. Saturn has been in Aquarius since March of 2020. And who remembers what happened in March of 2020? Please put it in my comments since you can't comment back. But yes, since Coco-19 began, Saturn moved into Aquarius for a previous time, then it went back into Capricorn, but it was still in its home. And when something is at home, when you're at home, when I'm at home, I'm comfortable, right? I'm at home now, comfortable with y'all in my little Friday number, black little dress. But yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of this Saturn at home energy, especially since March of 2020, especially since Saturn moved into Aquarius for the first time. Saturn rules authority, restrictions, limitations, divisions, walls, responsibility, growing up, getting a life, being realistic, all those kind of things. And Aquarius rules society, people, humanity, rebellion, surprises. And since Saturn has been in Aquarius, restrictions have been on people since March 2020, have they not? I remember March 11th, so we're coming up on the 3rd year anniversary. March 11th, 2020 was the last day I was working until I got this job that I got last April. So I was unemployed for 2 whole years because of Saturn in Aquarius and its energy, because of the restrictions on people, divisions on people. Has been heavy. I have literally been in arguments and separating myself from people I was with for 20 years plus since March 2020. I don't know about you, but around June or July of 2020, Saturn moved back, retrograded back into Capricorn. So when it did that, we all went back to work. I actually did get a job temporarily with the census, and things were good. Capricorn represents work. Capricorn represents money. I was literally getting money from July of 2020 to November of 2020, right around the time when Saturn was getting ready to creep back into Aquarius. People went back to work. So we were all working from home, doing the long distance, distance learning with the kids. But when it was time to get back to work, the kids were in school. Some of them can go to camp. Most of them are still online. Some people are still online 3 years later, not wanting to pull away, because fixed energy is stubborn. It's my way or the highway. And that's the energy people are still in up until March the 7th. Of course, on March the 7th, it's not going to be like magic and everybody just snap out of it and flow with it with the mutable energy and the water energy of Pisces, but it's already beginning gradually, right? So 12/21/2020 was when Saturn and Jupiter, I don't know if y'all remember when Jupiter and Saturn had their, because I still don't have my Jupiter, y'all. I'm doing crazy days at work, so I still have this sub-Jupiter. When Saturn and Jupiter had their conjunction, moved into Aquarius at the same day on 12/21/2020, all of us thought we had superpowers. We actually do. Some of us actually are a lot more powerful than we used to be. I know I am. On 12/21/2020 is the day that happened, the great conjunction. Jupiter is all the way now in Aries, because Jupiter moves once a year. Saturn moves every 2.5 years. So anyway, that great conjunction happened around election time, in between the shifts of the so-called leaders. I'm watching what I say, y'all. Okay, so all of 2021 and all of 2022, Saturn has been in Aquarius. Now that we're 3 months into 2023, it's getting ready to shift. Like I said, stays in one place for about 2.5 years. And now we're getting ready to make the shift. Big changes. Not only is it Saturn being one of the middle planets in between the inner planets and the outer planets, you can still see Saturn with your naked eye. We saw Jupiter this week with our naked eye, meaning you don't need a telescope to see it. We saw Jupiter in the sky with Venus this week in their conjunction. And I did something on that on my TikTok before it got put off, but I put it on the new one. So yeah, Jupiter and Saturn made that conjunction, right? Since 2018, when Saturn was starting in Capricorn, um, up until March the 7th, 2023, in 4 days, we have literally been in Saturn's home, in its two home signs, domiciles, Aquarius and Capricorn, since 2018. And there's been changes since 2018. I know me personally, 2018, the beginning is when I moved to California, came back right before COVID-19 happened. Almost spent 2 years there. The whole time Saturn was in Capricorn. Couldn't really get the work thing going over there. Couldn't really keep up with the money. So moved back. But literally for 5 years, Saturn has done the most. And what's the most? What is the word I'm trying to say? Authorizing, there we go. Authorizing people, restricting people, limiting people. I was limited from living where I've always dreamt to live in, which is the West Coast in LA, because I couldn't keep the money flowing. It was really tough. I tried. I gave it a try. So anyway, and then with Saturn moving into Pisces now, being a whole new energy and being ruled by Jupiter and Neptune, but mainly Jupiter because Neptune is an outer planet. We'll discuss that in a little bit. But the ruling signs are finally changing. That's what the mutable energy is. So cardinal energy is starting change, keeping it stagnant or keeping it fixed, keeping it the way you want it and not changing at all. Not starting, not changing. And then now we're moving into the changing energy. But finally, now that it's moving, Saturn's newest and final position, because Pisces is the last sign, is going to make big changes. It's already been big changes, especially since it's been in Aquarius, and now moving into a mutable sign, expect more big changes. Pisces, being the ending sign of the zodiac, wraps things up, forgives, takes things to another even higher level, because Jupiter is higher learning, higher energies, positive energies, optimism, and Saturn still restricts these things. So let's talk about a little bit more of the difference of Saturn and Jupiter. And why are we talking about Jupiter? Because again, Jupiter is the inner planet that rules Pisces. Like Mars is the inner planet that rules Scorpio. And Pisces and Scorpios are the only planets that have two ruling planets. So Scorpio rules, and they're both water signs. Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto. So Pluto is an outer planet, meaning you can't see it by the naked eye, and it takes longer time for it to affect us as an individual. It morally affects the collective. And Neptune, as well as Uranus. Those are the three outer planets, but Neptune is the other planet that rules another water sign, Pisces, right? But it's an outer planet, so Jupiter is the main planet that rules Pisces. And with Saturn, again, being about restrictions, limitations, being responsible, being mature, disciplined, and Jupiter having to do with faith and hope and positivity and optimism, and Pisces having to do with creativity. This is also a good reason that this is happening in Pisces, because celebrities that I have literally dug my foot into their rear on TikTok, and the reason I'm put off TikTok, are ruled by Pisces. So there's some things that we need to restrict in our own selves. Jupiter has to do with beliefs too. So restricting some of our beliefs of what Pisces has been ruling. We've also been in the age of Pisces for 2,000 years. And now we're moving into the age of Aquarius. So Pisces being a water sign, and water, the thing about water is it can change from a solid, liquid, and a gas. Pisces can be ice cold, or water signs. Water signs alone can be ice cold. Scorpios, flowing, or up in the air. And that could be literally all three of us water signs. I'm speaking for sun signs as well as rising signs. Pisces, again, is also a mutable sign. So it also changes the seasons. Mutable signs change the seasons. So let's just speak really quick. Pisces is getting ready to change into spring, because in the end of March, when we move into Aries, which is the beginning of the real new year, because Aries is a cardinal sign, right? Cardinal signs start things. The mutable signs change them. So the mutable signs are changing. The mutable sign of Pisces is changing the winter into the spring. The mutable sign of Sagittarius is changing the fall into the winter. The mutable sign of Virgo is changing the summer into the fall. The mutable sign of Gemini is changing the spring into the summer. So, while fixed signs, fixed signs are keeping things right there. So we were just in the dead of the winter in Aquarius season, not getting, even though this has been a weird changing of weather this winter. We didn't really have much of a cold weather. We had 77 degrees last week. It really went up to like 79. It was burning in the middle of the winter, in the middle of, was it Pisces season? I think it was Pisces season. But literally just Aquarius season being a fixed sign, fixated on winter. Scorpio season, all the leaves are falling or totally crumbling up, dead of the fall. Taurus season, the flowers are there. They've been there since Aries season, when spring started. They're not going anywhere. Leo season, it's hot. It's going to stay hot. Right, until Virgo season changes it into the fall. So you see how the mutable signs and the fixed signs go together, as well as the cardinal signs, because the cardinal signs are what starts the season, which is why we're starting the season of spring in Aries season, which is why that is the beginning of the new year. The zodiac year, but really the new year, because everything around the zodiac is based on the seasons, as well as a lot of other things, but let's not talk about that right now. So while things were in Saturn in Aquarius, they were fixed and nothing seemed to feel like it was changing. Literally all of us felt like we were just stuck in masks, stuck in homes, and we couldn't, on lockdown, stuck in, we're talking about fixed energy, stuck in our beliefs, in our minds, stuck at our jobs, stuck at home, unemployed, all kinds of just fixed energy. And we just felt like nothing was going to change. And finally, change is here. My Saturn opposition is actually right now. So I have Saturn in Leo at the 29th degree at 55 minutes. So it's kind of like right now, it's in the 29th degree. Saturn is definitely in the 29th degree. And I don't see where my yellow 29 is, but anyway, Saturn is at its, what is the name of that degree? I'll put it. Analytic degree. I'll put it here in a second once I look it up, but it's at its last degree before it makes this change into a mutable sign. When I was born on November 15th, 1977, Saturn was in Leo at 29 degrees. 29 degrees is also like a mastery level. You have been through everything that you could possibly go through in that sign, and now you're ready for change. You've mastered everything you need to master. You've learned all the lessons that Saturn gives you. And even though I was just born at this time, Saturn and Leo is like restrictions on expressing yourself. And I felt this all this time, and now I'm opposing Saturn in Aquarius, which is being more expressive, which is being unique, which is being rebellious, tapping into that. Also, when I talk about the exaltations in a short period, how I use my exaltation planet which is the planet of Uranus, which is ruled by Aquarius. So my opposition with Saturn and Leo, when I was born in 1977, being in the 29th degree is where Saturn is right now. I'm super rebellious right now. Oppositions create tension, right? Oppositions create those feelings that we have to do something or else the tension will not go away. It'll be like learning another lesson again, especially with Saturn. So just wanted to talk about my opposition really quick. All right, Pisces, again, is the 12th sign. It's the final sign of the zodiac. Pisces is feminine. It's bicorporeal. Hopefully I said that word right, which means it's the two fish that are in the symbol of Pisces. And here they are, the two fish. The two fish are similar to duality, like the two twins in Gemini or the scales in Libra. They're all bicorporeal. They represent duality, and having to deal with more than one thing at a time. Libra's balance relationships. Gemini's balance relationships with family members, siblings, cousins, those kind of things. And Pisces represent duality with life itself, life ending and life beginning, life changing from being one way to another, low energy and high energy, all kinds of bicorporeal things. Pisces is also the domicile of Jupiter, like we spoke on, and Neptune, and the exaltation of Venus. So what does exaltation mean? So when it's a domicile, it's at home, right? It's comfortable. You're comfortable in your home. When you're exaltation, you're comfortable in what you do, maybe even in someone else's home, because it's not home in Venus. Pisces is creative energy, and Venus loves to have the five senses. It loves desires and things. So it can be creative. It can be spiritual. It can be uplifting. It can be ideal too. So again, when I'm talking about exaltation now, my Uranus is in Scorpio. Scorpio is in exaltation. So an example of letting my best qualities shine in exaltation, having Uranus and Scorpio in exaltation. I get to the deepest, darkest thing. And everybody born around 1975 to 1982 have Uranus and Scorpio. So every little deep, dark secret I can easily pull through, and I like to. And Uranus being the planet of rebellion and surprise, I literally like to start shit sometimes, but it's because it's the benefit of humanity, because Uranus has to do with humanity. And I just want humanity to know that there are certain things that we need to know that have been hidden, and the truth shall set you free. So that's why I just kind of wanted to explain having an exaltation, especially like in a planet like Venus or a planet like Uranus. So one more thing that a planet could be in is in its fall, or it's in detriment. Pisces is in its fall in Mercury. Hopefully y'all can't hear the dog downstairs. Pisces is in its fall in Mercury, because Mercury is about detailed information and specifics, and Pisces just kind of likes big ideas and creativity and flowing with that information or that communication, not nitpicking at it, not getting the specifics and details. Just kind of likes to flow and be free and creative then. All right. Pisces rules the feet. And the age of Pisces, we all had specific beliefs, especially religious, in Jesus and manifesting. And one thing that Jesus did was manifest water and wine, and people always were known to wash his feet, and he would wash theirs. Feet represent everything above them, right? So the feet are carrying all this from ankles on up to the top of our crowns. Feet can ground us, but they can only absorb so much, right? So think of that when Jesus was washing or getting his feet washed, how much he had absorbed from others, how much he had absorbed of pain and suffering and just going through everything. So that's why Pisces is a really long, and I haven't even touched on everything, but it's a really detailed sign, because Pisces carries the weight of all the signs, carries the weight of all our body. carries the weight of the whole universe, literally, which is why Pisces is so spiritual and so flowing in a lot. Pisces is so a lot because of all that. Now let's talk a little bit. It's a broad sign. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's talk a little bit about Saturn. Saturn is a malefic planet. So malefic, mal, that prefix represents bad, but you know, not everything is bad or good. Bad or good is not really real. Malefic planets. Also, another one is Mars, which is what rules Scorpio. Yes. So Saturn rules Capricorn, which is my moon. My sun is ruled by Mars, Scorpio. My rising is Libra. So literally, I have 2 malefic planets in my big 3. So Mars represents fights, weapons, you know, sharp things, wars, all kinds of aggression. Saturn is a male planet. I'm sorry, Mars is a male planet. Saturn is ruled by Capricorn, which is a feminine sign, and Aquarius, which is a masculine sign. So it can be both. It just remind me again of what Saturn, because I've said it so much, is in the comments. But, you know, grow up and do some work is what Saturn says. Grow up and work hard and learn your lessons so that I can reward you, or my son Jupiter can reward you. That's the reason that Saturn and Jupiter's conjunction was so strong, because we all had lessons to learn so we can get our rewards. And that's what we're getting ready to get, y'all. No worries. Saturn is dry and cold, and when, like skin, is dry. Put a little water on it, you put some liquid on it, oil, lotion, like Pisces, you put water on it, it loosens up, it softens up. So we really need this softer energy. It's actually kind of beneficial after this being so tough and fixed and having to initiate and lead things, with Saturn being in its 2 home signs of Capricorn and Aquarius. All right, let's talk about what Saturn in Pisces is going to be. So Saturn in Pisces is asking us to be more realistic of our beliefs, okay? It can limit them. Some of our beliefs need to be limited, y'all. Like, we literally been living in this illusion, which is when we're going to get to Neptune next, that represents illusions. We've literally been living in some illusion for quite some time, especially with the age of Pisces. Saturn in Pisces is going to bring us more responsibility about what we have been idealizing, especially celebrities, especially leaders. We are the leaders. We are the celebrities. We don't have to idealize anyone else. We don't have to worship anyone else. Worship yourself. Give yourself that same energy and see how beneficial life can be. We have to mature creatively. Pisces represents creativity. And like I said, limiting our beliefs to be more realistic. And now, even when Saturn moves into Aries in 2025 briefly and back into Pisces until 2026. And even though I'm getting ready to talk also about the Saturn conjunction in Neptune, which is going to happen in Aries, like towards the end of Saturn being in Pisces and Neptune moving into Aries. That is the beginning of a new energy. So we have to wrap up some things, which is why when we go back into retrograde, like when Pluto will be in Aquarius, right after the Saturn moves into Pisces, Pluto moves in Aquarius 2 weeks later, it moves back into Capricorn the middle of this year until the end of the year. Until the beginning of 2024. So these retrogrades are teaching lessons. We still might have something to tie up from, even though we're going to get a little preview of Pluto. We're not talking about Pluto, so let's get back to Saturn. Okay, Saturn, one other thing, rules walls. So once we enter Saturn and Pisces, we're ending something to begin something with Saturn in Aries, shortly 2 years later, right? We're changing our boundaries and being more adaptable with Saturn and Pisces. Here's a little historical statistic. The rise in occultism and the fall of Jesus is where we're moving towards. I know I left religion in 2017. and this is possible with all religions, not just Christianity, but false prophets are on the fall. So historical statistics show that the Berlin Wall, I can't remember if that was religious or not because I was like 11 when it happened, but the Berlin Wall, I researched this, went up in Saturn and Capricorn in December 22nd, 1989. I was definitely just turned 11, just turned 12. To October 3rd, 1990, so almost a year of this wall up in Germany that was all over media, of course. And again, I was too young to really understand what it was, but this was during cardinal seasons because Capricorn 1222 is Capricorn season, the beginning of it, and Libra season 10, October 3rd is Libra season. So that cardinal signs initiate things. They initiated to put it up and initiated to take it down. They initiated to put it up. The hard work it took, I'm sure, to put it up in Capricorn season. And then everyone coming together, harmonizing in Libra season, saying, you know what, this is not what we want for our relationships with Germans. The Germans did not want their relationship to be divided. Now, in Aquarius season, I'm sure once they brought that wall down after Saturn being in Aquarius back then, Saturn moving into Capricorn back then, Saturn moving into Aquarius, it still kept some divided. It still definitely kept some divided. Still kept others blocking, you know, Saturn being Aquarius now, blocking, deleting, dismissing, dividing, all those D's, and doing it rebelliously. Like, I literally was like, don't want to talk to you no more. Bye. See you. Deleted. Out of my life. Out of sight. Out of mind. In Pisces, the walls will come down a little bit. They'll soften up, of course. And what is new coming, the endings of what's new to come. And just being more adaptive of what you restricting yourself of and restricting others with. There was one other statistic. I just turned the page and I think I read past it. So Saturn in Capricorn. Oh no. Okay. So Saturn and Neptune, that's where I'm getting to. So let's talk about this conjunction last. Saturn conjunct Neptune will happen in 2025. Let's move these two over. So Neptune, I mean, we've already had Neptune in Pisces since 2011, and it leaves at the end of 20. So around 2025, Saturn and Neptune are going to have this conjunction, okay? Another conjunction is pointing that way where we're talking about right here in Pisces. So Neptune has already been in Pisces since 2011. It leaves Pisces around the end of 2025. Saturn will move into Aries in 2025, back into Pisces, and then in 2026. So around the end of them both being in Pisces, we will have a conjunction. Conjunctions are blended energies. They're blended in the final sign of zodiac. They're starting a new energy right after this. So this is important. The changes that we will see will more than likely happen on TV. And this is where I wanted to come to other Saturn conjunction Neptune transits that have happened previously with technology. Again, Pluto and Aquarius is going to be big technology too. Happening like when it was in Libra back in the 80s. There was big technology changes. That's another story for another time. These changes are going to happen on TV. So Neptune rules idealism, media, celebrities, fantasy, deception, illusions. Y'all have heard it before. And we are ending those with it being in Pisces. That's why the energy is so heavy, and to some, to most, to those who are aware, we notice the fakeness. We talk about it all the time. But Neptune is an outer planet, so again, you cannot see this planet or feel most of its energy individually. You can't see it with the naked eye. You can only see it with a telescope. You need those extra technologies to see it, just like we need that extra time to feel it. Since it's been in Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011, it's literally taken us all this time to open our eyes. So other Saturn conjunction Neptune transits One in 1917, the colored movies came out. That was around the time Annie came out, which is one of my favorite movies, the original Annie. It was in color in the movies. 1953 is when the color TV was more mainstream. More people started getting it, so they could watch the colored movies that were created in the previous Saturn conjunct Neptune time. 1990 is when Game Boy came out. So 1990, when Saturn was conjuncting Neptune, Game Boy was developed. There was a rise in media. I know 1990s when music videos were really popular. They were popular in the 80s, but just became even more popular in the 90s. Celebrities became bigger in the 90s. It was a big rise in technology. And Saturn rules these cold, hard truths, right? Saturn rules responsibility and reality. So, conjunct Neptune, the planet of illusions, what we've been idolizing, fantasizing, delusionally wearing rose-colored glasses over our eyes, has literally been a problem for some. Some could use those rosy-colored glasses because they're so serious, like myself sometimes, having a Capricorn moon, so serious about reality that it's like a dark cloud over their head and they don't see positively. Because remember, Pisces, even Neptune, sometimes it's good to dream, right? Sometimes it's good to have beliefs that are creative and optimistic. So for those that believe everything or believe in these celebrities and leaders and they're not bad people, some aren't. Most are. Be aware. For those who are just too heavy into it like me and need to back off a little bit, put the rosy colored glasses on and dream of a better ending and a new beginning. That is the advice I give for myself and others in these positions. All right. What we thought we believed will come to a clear understanding in Pisces too. Forgiveness is Pisces. It's also getting a clear insight. Water signs, clear water at that, is emotional. But once we work on these once we get clarity on our emotions, once we get a better understanding, especially with illusions and what's real and what's not, it can lead us in better energy. It can manifest things. Pisces is about manifesting energy as well. So once we take care of these lessons with Saturn, once we realize the positive parts of Neptune, which I steadily have been doing since I've been doing these astrology videos and talking about Pisces more positively, we can manifest, we can excel, we can move into the new energy with ease. And I think that's all I want to say. Dream a little, just not too much. I am TMZ, teaching everyone abundantly, empowering many, Zakia, enlightening every day. This is Get a Life Astrology, because we are growing into divine adults and loving ourselves forever. Again, happy 3-3 portal. You will see this on Saturn Day after I edit it and chop it up and screw it. Peace, y'all. Have a great weekend.
Everyone in the world and every religion in the world sees God in a different way. They all see it according to the way they've been taught, the way they believe. That doesn't mean there's any right, there isn't any wrong. It's just that our concept is so limited to what it really is. God is so huge, it is so big that there's no way we can define it, and there's no way we can enclose it in a box that we call religion. We call it the source. God is a name that we have put on it, but it all goes back to the source. The source is the beginning of everything. The first thing you have to get over is thinking that God is a man. We personify him. He is not. If anything, he would have been a woman, because woman is the feminine aspect, the creative aspect. But the truth is, it's not a physical, it is not a man or it is not a woman. It is a huge, powerful energy source that cannot be described. It is the embodiment of love. It is total love.